Hey, movie freaks and geeks, it is me, Deadpool Speaks, and I'm here to talk to you about the things that happened on this day, May 4th, in history. Cinematic history, actually. We're talking about everything movies because, this is Movies, Freaks and Geeks. And as always, you can find us on Twitter, just M, Freaks and Geeks, at Twitter, obviously. On Facebook, find us under facebook.com/movie freaks and geeks. Go to our website, moviefreaksandgeeks.com. And on Instagram, we are under moviegeek_98. So definitely give us a shout out, say hello. We want to hear from you, all our fans. And also remember, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/movie freaks and geeks. Now, we have all sorts of tiers and rewards available for you. So if you guys become part of this, if you guys want to join our Patreon group, we do have exclusives. And one of the best ones is our VIP exclusive, because not only do you get a digital film every month, so guaranteed digital film every month, you get to have a once monthly live Q&A with someone in the movie business that we know. We're going to go ahead and kind of set these things up. So that way we could have a funny little kind of round robin, just a Q&A session. And this is exclusively for our Patreon, contributors, people who want to go ahead and support us and help us make us as great as we can be. Because by making us great, you look greater, I guess. So, and we do have other reward tiers. We have, something as simple as $1. $1 will take you far, believe it or not. With us, because there's all sorts of little giveaways and stuff, things that we do, stuff that gets sent to us that we send back to you, our fans. So definitely look us up, patreon.com/movie freaks and geeks. So let's go ahead and kind of get started and talk about some of the things that happened on this day in film and television history. So on this day, on May 4th, actually a very young 18-year-old Angela Lansbury. You may recognize her from the original Beauty and the Beast as Mrs. Potts and Murder, She Wrote. She starred in the 1944 film debut Gaslight. So she made her film debut as a very young and sultry 18-year-old actress in the movie Gaslight. Also on this day, in 2008, Seth MacFarlane, he reached an agreement with Fox to keep Family Guy and American Dad on television until 2012. Now, that agreement was actually worth $100 million, which made, at the time, MacFarlane the world's highest paid television writer. So, yeah, and you can only imagine. I mean, it's still going on strong. So, hooray, Zach MacFarlane. Way to take him to the cleaners. Now, also another interesting event that happened on this day, May 4th. In 2010, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which from Seinfeld and from Veep fame, she received the 2,407th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, although on her original star, her name was actually misspelled. So, way to go, autocorrect. Obviously failed on that one. Birthdays today in film and television, we have Audrey Hepburn. Born on this day in 1929, beautiful Audrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's. She went ahead and graced, the world with her presence. And unfortunately, on this day in 1975, we lost one of the comedy greats, Moe Howard from the Three Stooges. So something to keep in mind whenever you celebrate the Star Wars Day today. So another thing that premiered on this day, May 4th, was The Amazing Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's last dive into the Spider-Man realm. I'd like to say it was well received, but it wasn't. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite, but it is what it is. Sadly, the movie had declined and became into kind of cult obscurity as far as the casting of Venom. It was you want to say it's like an all-around mess, but it is what it is. I mean, it was an enjoyable, it was a good movie. A lot of people thought, well, that's the decline of the superhero movie. But no. Overall, it was okay. And pretty soon we're going to have Spider-Man: Homecoming coming out, so we're going to have another reboot. This is another reboot. And as we all know, that's how Hollywood works. But just to kind of have a little fun, what I wanted to do is I kind of want to toss out, basically 6 facts about Spider-Man that I bet you probably didn't know. Just to go ahead and kind of cheer on its Spider-Man 3's 10th anniversary. Going to number 1, I don't know if a lot of you guys knew this or not, but Spider-Man was not the first, quote-unquote, Spider-Man to debut in Marvel Comics. Basically, the first one was an Amazing Fantasy in 1962. And, it was a success. I mean, even though this Spider-Man looked exactly like a spider, and was, kind of popular because at that time, the monster fiction, because if you remember, a lot of the comics in the 1950s and 1960s kind of revolved around Western war and monsters. The superhero kind of realm hadn't explored itself as much, but it was Journeys into Mystery, and it was simply called The Spider. Spider-Man was not the first Spider-Man character to grace Marvel. Now, I don't know if you know this, but believe it or not, Spider-Man actually one time teamed up in the October 1974 issue of Marvel Team Up. They teamed up with the Saturday Night Live cast. Yeah. The Not Ready for Primetime players had a guest appearance by Spider-Man. So these players included Lorraine Newman, John Belushi, Jane Curtin, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Garrett Morris, and Chevy Chase. A lot of people didn't like the comic. It was kind of seemed really campy. But it's something interesting, and live from New York, it's Spider-Man, right? Okay. Yeah, I didn't get off very well. All right, so moving into fact number 3, I don't know if you guys know this, but he was once a member of the Fantastic Four. You remember that time when the Human Torch died? Yeah, that happened. Everybody's died in the Marvel Universe at one point or another. But when the Human Torch died, they went ahead and, I don't know if you guys know this, spoiler alert. I should have said that before, right? But the Human Torch did die. He died for the greater good, I guess, in like an alternate dimension. And then the Fantastic Four were actually Fantastic 3, and kind of went into white costumes. But then Spider-Man joined up. They were called the Future Foundation. So, believe it or not, Spider-Man was actually, at one time, a member of the Fantastic Four. And I'm pretty sure, not a lot of people know this, but his parents, his parents were spies and stuff. This is Peter Parker parents. They actually teamed up at one time because they were part of S.H.I.E.L.D. And teamed up with who would be later on known as Wolverine. Interesting little comic tidbit there. So if you want it, that's a 3.5 on facts. So you get a little bit more. It's a bonus. We always like to give more than what we can, and more than what's relevant. So moving on. Number 4, Spider-Man was once a TV star. And this is not. I don't mean hey, this isn't the comics, okay? So basically, in kind of the Spider-Man, the 2002 version, he had the whole wrestling match and against Crusher Creel, and he also, in the comic book series, became a TV star, doing late night shows and performing tricks and stuff like that. And he actually did that until the death of Uncle Ben, which then kind of showed him, hey, I shouldn't be using my powers to goof around. So that's an interesting little fact that Spider-Man was once a TV star prior to becoming a superhero. And another little tiny fact on there, that Spider-Man webbing, it only lasts for about an hour. So, if everybody who's always like, man, who cleans up after Spider-Man? It's like he's web slinging all over town, and he leaves those web things. Well, they disintegrate after about an hour. So, just a fun little extra 4.5 fact. Number 5, Peter Parker was actually not that much of a nerd. So, a lot of people kind of think, and they portray it like this in the movies too, that he was like pretty much like this awkward nerd. But, just a few comics into the original series, Peter already got like, his first girlfriend, which is Betty Brant. And I mean, he was kind of like, just kind of growing into his own skin, kind of becoming this superhero. So he wasn't as nerdy as he seemed. Yes, at first with Flash Thompson, he did have those issues, but then again, he, like I said, grew into his own skin and kind of became this kind of standout kid, not necessarily as much as a nerd as you'd think. Now, I'm saving the best little fact for last, and this was actually quite interesting. That Spider-Man was once molested as a child. What? Yes. So basically, during the 80s, 70s, there's a lot of PSA issues of comic books that were coming out to kind of raise awareness for different things. And in a PSA issue of Spider-Man, the writers were trying to raise awareness for kids and sexual abuse. So they did this by kind of focusing the issue on Spider-Man and trying to get a sexually abused child to go to the police. But during this time, he kind of uncovered, like an unpleasant memory of an older friend, Skip, who once found, that it's so complicated. So he kind of found the porn magazines, I guess, inappropriate magazines, and he tried to convince Peter Parker, this is his friend Skip, that they should kind of touch each other like they do in the magazines. Creepy. So, the whole thing kind of ended with him telling Aunt May about his story and everything kind of working out with a big rainbow and sunny clouds, because we suppress things to kind of hide our bad memories. But yeah, so that actually happened. So Spider-Man was once molested as a child. Man, that got dark real quick. So guys, I am Deadpool Speaks. This was your daily facts on what happened on this day in May 4th in history. I think that was right. So remember, as always, you could go ahead and catch us on MovieFreaksandGeeks.com, Facebook.com/MovieFreaksandGeeks, MFreaksandGeeks on Twitter, MovieGeek_98 on Instagram, and on Tumblr. Basically, everywhere you go, it's just Movie Freaks and Geeks. Also, remember, check out our Patreon exclusive stuff. We're going to be talking about American Gods, that new series on Starz, which is freaking amazing. Also, if you want to get a digital copy of the Neil Gaiman book, American Gods, check out our Patreon, man. We're giving stuff away. I mean, we are literally giving stuff away just for helping us out. And really, it's less than the cost of a Happy Meal. And we'll make you happier, guaranteed. Guys, I'm Deadpool Speaks. And as always, whatever you see out there, whatever feels good, whatever trailers you catch, whatever movies you have there in front of you, just watch it, baby.